Welcome back to the Real Couchwives podcast, where we overanalyze all things Bravo.
So Lala Kent has just gone on the Jeff Lewis podcast, and she had a lot to say about the future of Vanderpump Rules, the status of the relationships, and I think she is still holding on to some grudges. We listened to it. We're going to tell you everything she said. Of course, we're going to comment on our thoughts and feelings, because you all know that we have a lot of those. And then we'll just do a little roundup of Bravo and Real Housewives and everything that's happening in life. Our own lives included.
Yeah, many things are happening, aren't they, Carrie?
There are. So first off, we are so sorry. It has been a little bit of time. We are back. We're so ready. We are rested, kind of. I was in Italy for 2 weeks, so that was kind of crazy. Iris, some small news happened to you too.
Just a little bit.
A little bit. So for those who are listening and cannot see, Iris is engaged.
Yeah, what? Who would have thought when you got engaged this year that I would also get engaged this year?
Honestly,
not me.
There's so many engagements and weddings happening this year. Like, I don't know what's in the air. It's like wild. Well, congratulations. This is so exciting. We are officially couch fiancés.
Fiancés, who knew? One step closer to actually being couchwives.
One day soon, we will be actual couchwives.
We're getting there. I love it.
But we're here to talk about Lala. It's kind of a weird transition. Yeah. Lala just did an interview with Jeff Lewis and also with Ryan Bailey.
Yeah, I know. I noticed that. I saw him in the photo that they took.
That was really cool. I also really appreciated it because Ryan, I feel like, did a good job of like still kind of like holding Lala accountable. Like nice. Right when they started, actually, Lala was like, "Oh, like Ryan, are you being weird because you like troll me online?" And he's
damn,
because he has some like similar views that we do.
Yeah,
and he's like, "No, like I don't." He's like, "It's not what I mean. Like I'm still a big fan, but he's like, I just wanted to see the girl power season, and you know, like I don't understand why that's not something that we could have gotten."
Mm-hmm. That, and also, like, I feel like it was really good for Jeff Lewis to have Ryan Bailey on the podcast, because, like, I feel like a lot of the times Jeff Lewis is, like, he's super fine with, like, being shady, but for the most part, like, he is kind of, like, friends with these people. Mm-hmm. Ryan Bailey is, like, the level of, like, you know, kind of, like, insiderdom with, like, you know, the understanding of, like, the situation. He knows kind of, like, the whole story, but he also, like, can kind of, like, have, you know, like that like contrarian kind of opinion, which I think Lala also needs, because just from listening to her podcast, she very much feels like she's like in a bit of an echo chamber, right? Like she's always surrounded by people who are willing to agree with her and be on her side, and like having Ryan Bailey be able to kind of like balance out that podcast is probably really nice.
Yeah. Even Jeff Lewis, though, kind of told her as well, you know, like that he thought that she should have given Ariana some grace.
Good.
And it was really interesting too to watch Lala kind of like tiptoe or like kind of toe the line of like, you know, sticking to her guns and like
a little maybe too.
But
though.
she didn't, like, that was what was weird. I feel like she didn't backpedal, like she kind of stuck to her guns, but then also did a little bit. Like, for example, when she was talking about the finale and how you know, like it changed because there was one person who just like put their foot down and was like, I am not doing this. And she's like, that's never happened. We don't have a show if that happens. But what she did change was being like, Ariana put her foot down. She wasn't going to do this. Understandably. She added an understandably.
Right.
But then the way that she continued to talk about it, you could tell that she didn't actually understand that, but she knows that she's gotten bad backlash and she needs to, you know, kind of seem like she's a little bit more understanding, but she's definitely not. Yeah. She also really stuck to her guns on the house situation, the still living with him situation. She really backed that continuously. She still feels that way. It was also interesting that like when they had callers come in, basically if they didn't agree with her, they were like, okay, so you don't like Lala, like you're not a fan of Lala. Right. And the people, sorry.
No, but that's just like so annoying, because as somebody who used to be a fan of Lala, like you take celebrities, you take reality TV stars like a little bit with a grain of salt, right? Like you always kind of know that like sometimes they have good seasons, sometimes they have bad seasons, and you're open to that kind of like fluctuation. But Lala in particular, like from season 9, especially, I would say, to like season 10, like that version of Lala is so wildly different than what we got in season 11 that's what's just like confusing for us, is like the shift in the mindset and kind of like who she became this year, like, or whatever, last year, is just like so radically different that like we can't even be like, well, it's just an editing or like a bad edit or something. It's like, no, like literally you just like completely shifted as a person, and we're having a hard time reckoning with that.
It's true. And I do wish that they brought that up more, because I feel like they did bring it up that, you know, she didn't really give Ariana that much grace, and like, you know, not everyone could just move out of the house, and like she was in a different scenario. Even I think it was Jeff Lewis was like, you know, Lala, like when the realizations that you're coming to about Randall, like you had months of therapy to go through that. Like we picked up filming right after Ariana, you know, had gone through this, and a lot of people are speculating that like she was probably in a depression. Like, you know, she was really going through some things, and everyone just kind of like came at her. But yeah, they didn't bring up that part, or like the self-producing part that we talked about a lot. I guess maybe that's a little bit too fourth wall breaking. I don't know,
and like kind of hard to prove, right? Like how do you prove that she was self-producing and not just being like her authentic self?
That's it.
Yeah, but that's like, just to go back quickly to like what she said about like the reunion. Sorry, not the reunion, the finale. And how she was like, Lala was like, oh, well, nobody's ever done that. Nobody's ever kind of like put that wall down. It's like, that's just even not true. Like, there's been so many instances in reality TV and in Vanderpump Rules in particular where people have just like straight up like refused to film with people. Like that was like Stassi's whole thing for like multiple, like I feel like Stassi didn't see Jax from like, I don't know, season 2 to season like 4 or something. Like it felt like it was a long time.
This is coming from the woman who literally refused to even have the name of her boyfriend and like lied about having a boyfriend for like multiple seasons. So yeah, it's true. It's definitely revisionist history as well.
Definitely revisionist history, specifically for the show that you're on and like supposed to be such a like fan of, and like have like, you know, all this like integrity and whatever for. Like it's not.
Well, it's also interesting that you say like it's such a different person who's showing up. One thing that she did say is that like she's at peace. She said like in season 10 she like kind of solved what she needed to solve with people. She really came into her own as her own person. Like she's like, you know, when she came on the show she was a drunk and now she's sober, and then she had stuff with Randall, and she's like, so she's saying that this is her most authentic self,
right,
that we saw, and that she is leaving the season at peace. Right. Including being at peace that she is no longer friends with Ariana, which is what I'm going to get to in a second, which is kind of like the juiciest part that came out of this.
Interesting. Did she mention Katie at all?
No, literally no mention of Katie. We basically only spoke about Ariana. So yeah, what was interesting is they were just kind of like, what's happening with VPR? And she's like, I don't know. Which is like, wait, aren't they allegedly filming right now? What do you mean you don't know?
Well, so that's kind of what's gotten reported, is that they've said that some people are like their contracts are signed and some people's contracts aren't signed.
Are still being negotiated.
And I think it's like I feel like this happens whenever they like pick up a new season, where like Bravo like plants some stories about how like certain people might not be coming back because of contract negotiations and like basically wanting too much money. And they're even alleging that like this will be the last season because of like some of those requests for money.
Really? That's the reason, and not because there's just like nothing else to go on.
Well, I feel like it's also like a little bit of a scare tactic from Bravo, right? Where they kind of are like, hey guys, this could be your last season if you don't like play ball with us and negotiate and like bring down your requesting offer, because like this isn't guaranteed next year. So don't like over exacerbate your worth, I guess. And so I feel like that, like Bravo kind of always does that. And they, you know, they've done that with like Luann, like back in the day when like she didn't come back, for like a few episodes, I think in season 6, because she was like asking for more money and like she didn't, they were just like, well, we're just going to demote you to a friend of then.
Which is that's wild kind of like what they actually did that.
Yeah, exactly. I feel like it happens like all the time.
Yeah.
So yeah, like I kind of do wonder if there's like a little bit of like that kind of going on with the filming for season 12, but it does sound like at least it's like moving forward and happening, and we're gonna get something
for sure. Well, what's interesting is, and that's why it's like interesting that she did this podcast at this time and just like what came out of the podcast, because it definitely didn't inspire hope for the next season. Like, so it's essentially, yeah, she's like, she's not really sure what's going on. She's like, you know, they had this really amazing thing going, and then like two people's decision like just ruined everything and burned that bridge and like destroyed the friendship group. She did later say that was Raquel and Sandoval, because for a little bit I was getting like pretty frustrated that I was like, girl, you are not blaming this on Ariana. Which,
yeah, like who are the two people in this scenario?
Which is, I think, like what kind of, because that's what I saw online before I listened to it. It was like, she's blaming Ariana, but no, she did say it was Tom and Raquel's decision, and that kind of like broke the friendships, and it's just like it can't be mended. And she said that there's just no more story left to tell. That, and I guess, and I think the reason she said that is because like the friendships are broken. Like they just like they don't know where to go from here.
Yeah. Well, but like I can see why she's saying that, but I also kind of like wonder if like the fact that the friendships are broken and the like contract negotiations and like the threat of like this being their last season, like I wonder if that also kind of like, it could go one of two ways. Either they're checked out, they're not interested, they don't want to keep on going, and they like know that this is the end, so they're like, what's even the point? Like, why even bother? Or like maybe it'll be kind of like the Hail Mary that they thought last season was going to be, and it's actually going to be super freaking messy because everyone's like, let me prove what I can do. Let me throw me, get me in, coach, put me in. And then they're also going to be like, well, like if we're super messy, maybe we will get a season 13. And I would, for one, would love a like super messy season 12.
It's true. Yeah. No,
let's
it's
go
true.
Brawling.
It's just like,
let's fight. Like, let's get in there. Like, that's what I miss from Bravo. I'm missing the fighting. Like,
I know. And like the real fighting, not like the overproduced, like whatever the heck was on Vanderpump Villa. Like,
or whatever's going on with like New York right now. Like, I don't even want to talk about it.
Oh my God. Yeah. Like, well, that's it. So I have to imagine it's what you're saying, because like it feels weird for Lala to go on a podcast and literally just be like, yep, there's nothing else to do. Good luck, guys.
Yeah.
Or maybe she's leaving. Maybe she's not going to be in the next season, but she definitely would be in the next season, because like I can't see her walking away willingly.
That's just it. Like I have to, like, I'm sure all of them are making insane enough amounts of money that like it's hard to imagine that like even if you were going to get like a demotion or you were going to get a pay cut, like you still wouldn't be like, even if you were going to make Raquel's $19,000 an episode, that's still
the horror.
What did we calculate that was? Like over $300,000.
Yeah, it was a lot.
Like even you're going to lose a third to that to taxes. That's still $200,000. That's nothing to sneeze at. Like, that's still going to help you pay your mortgage.
Right. Speaking of Raquel, did you see that she is walking away from her podcast to Hell and Cleanse? I don't know. I just brought in the Whitney Hilling.
I did see that. I think it was time. I think she made the right call. We were done.
I mean, I definitely haven't continued listening after like those few episodes that we listened to.
No, I think I actually stopped listening after I found out that she was suing Ariana in her lawsuit, and I was just like, okay, well now I have to step away.
Yeah, this
is ridiculous. You've lost me.
Yeah, that's fair. But yeah, so unsure about what's happening in the next season. Lala also said that she is not friends with Sandoval. She doesn't talk to Sandoval, so it's just like, why did you put through all of this? Why did you put us through this if you're not even... I don't understand. I don't understand. Also, actually, sorry to backtrack again. It is interesting to see what would happen with her in terms of negotiation, because she's in a weird spot where, like, you know, obviously this is all alleged and this is our feelings, but we all thought that she was kind of production's puppet this season and that she was just doing, you know, what they're told. So in Bravo's mind, she was like a good soldier and she did what she was asked. But the reception has been horrible. So I wonder how they would view that, right? Like,
I do think that they favor like
people who do what they are
not fan reaction. No, actually, I was going to say the opposite. Like, I think because they don't. Like, I feel like Reality Bites has talked about like all of like the testing and stuff that they do on like the like the audience, I guess, towards like all of their like castmates and stuff. and how like that's like a pretty like heavy like indicator of like who stays, who goes, like how people kind of like get their contracts and stuff. So I think that there's a very good possibility that even if like, because the thing is like there's production and then there's Bravo, right? Like production does the like boots on the ground kind of like work of like putting it together, but like ultimately Bravo has the say of like the overall storyline and the like actual kind of like contracts, right? So like production might love you, but if Bravo's like, well, I'm not seeing what I need to see here on this like NPS score, you're dropped. Adios.
Yeah. No, that's a good point, but
that's my guess.
Yeah. I mean, we'll see what happens. But it was interesting for her just to be like, oh, you know, I'm like, I don't talk to Sandoval. And it's just like, well, all of that was for nothing. Thank you so much for putting us all through that.
As if we thought you ever hung out with Sandoval and that you liked him at all. Like, so ridiculous.
It's like, that was our main problem. It's like, we know that you're not friends with this person. So like, why are you going to bat for him? She also still doesn't think she went to bat for him. She thinks that she tore him up at this reunion and that makes it so that like, it's all fine. So interesting.
Delusional. Ridiculous.
The other thing that came out, which is being circulated online, is that she has no relationship with Ariana. There is no plans for it to be mended. She does not think it'll be mended. There's no openness. It's done.
Interesting. I guess I can see a world in which this like series does continue on without her.
Without her as Lala or Ariana?
Without her as Lala, because like let's think about like the core group kind of like that are like remaining from the original cast, like the Sheena, the Ariana, the Katie, the Tom and Tom. Let's just like focus on them. I'm sure James will still be like involved in it in a capacity, but like those really are like the friends, and like those all of them kind of at least seem to have like enough of like a tie to one another that you could kind of like maybe still have something work, right? Obviously, like Tom and Tom are business partners, they're buddies, they're ride or die.
Yeah, we've definitely seen that. Like if Tom Schwartz didn't step away for real during everything, like that, it's never happening.
He's staying for the long run. Katie and Ariana are obviously business partners. I think Sheena and Ariana, like that's kind of like the interesting dynamic of like seeing how that can kind of like heal and be fixed and whatever. But like Lala at this point, like she's not friends with Ariana, she's not friends with Katie, she's not friends with Tom Sandoval. I mean, I guess maybe she's a little bit friends with Tom Schwartz, but Tom Schwartz has never been a major contributor to this TV show. And then, yes, she is friends with Sheena, but if that's kind of like her only like tie, then yeah, like what's the point of kind of like having her around? So maybe there isn't a version of this next, generation or whatever that will include Lala. Plus, they did talk about the fact that like they've actually auditioned additional like new people to kind of come in and be a part of the show.
True.
So new cast of characters could be coming and joining.
That's always hard though, and like they really need to do a good balance of it, because like if it's just like, hey, here's some random person, we're all gonna be like, why? Like season 8 was so bad because they just shoved so many new people at us at once, and it was just kind of like, wait, who are these people? Why do I care about them? Like, what's happening?
Yeah, which is fair. And like actually weirdly enough, like,
oh sorry, was that season 8? Yeah, it was.
Yeah, that was season 8. But then the weird thing about that is that like, yes, okay, Max and Brett, yeah, like they kind of like disappeared or whatever. But then like Charlie like did come back for like another couple seasons. She actually did a really good job like being on the show. And then Dana has actually continued to be friends with Katie, and like had like maybe she stayed in that like realm, like maybe we would be in a different place with the cast now.
Well, she's still friends with Katie. She's also friends with Ariana, and she's friends with all the people from the Valley. So like Dana actually
could be a more logical person to include in the friend group now than she was 3 seasons ago.
And there's also like, who they're like, there's some of the people that are their friends and in their clique, but they're just like they're like auxiliary characters. Like I wonder if any of those come into the fold. I wonder how, because there is actually a real friend group there to be had, to be showcased. But it's also like, do they have stuff going on in their life? Are they willing to talk about it? Like, there's so many different factors. They also talked about like, so Ryan and Jeff were asking her if she was going to have like a bigger spot on the Valley. She said, like, not really, but mainly just because she was, like, about to give birth. Apparently, they actually wanted to show her birth. Like, they wanted to be, like, at the hospital. And she was like, no, I need to have boundaries.
Yeah. Good for her.
But that kind of makes me think that maybe Sheena will be a bigger part of it. Because it seems like the main reason she wasn't a big part of it is because she was super pregnant and, like, gonna give birth. But, like... Yeah, so does that mean we're going to have more Sheena on the Valley? I don't know.
I think we have to mentally prepare for that fact.
I'm sure she found her way in. I'm sure.
Yeah.
She has been posting a lot. She posts a lot with the people from the Valley recently.
Posts a lot, especially like when she made it very clear that she was at the Valley finale party. The Valley finale party.
It's just like, what is the world that we're in now where I'm more excited about the Valley than VPR? Like, there is no scenario in which I thought this would happen.
I don't think I'm more excited about the Valley than VPR, but I feel like I do have a sense that the Valley will probably be a more consistent season than VPR will be. Like, VPR is a wild card at this point. I have no idea what's going to be coming down the pipe.
I just don't know how they come back from this.
No.
To quote Mom Talk, I don't know if Mom Talk can survive this. Like, I don't
know if Mom Talk can survive this. It's so unfortunate because we're like in the midst of like so many kind of like reboots on Bravo, right? Like we have the Vanderpump Rules, like figuring out what's going on. We have like the RHONY kind of like in like a weird new version of itself in like season 2 or season whatever it is now that it's, I don't know what it is now that it's rebooted.
Yeah.
Like, I've lost track of like the actual number of seasons. And like, it just feels like there's like a lot of shows that like on Bravo that are kind of like in that like awkward, like, how do we move forward from here phase of like, okay, maybe this will still keep working or maybe this is not really so good. I don't know.
That's it. And we actually, we want to do an entire episode on this because like it is just such like a weird time for Bravo. I feel like they're trying to reinvent themselves. They don't know exactly which way to go. Mm-hmm. It's not super working. Like I think they had good signs from RHONY at the beginning that it had a good first season. And now the second season is just feeling very... kind of just like self-produced and also just like no one's willing to actually talk about anything, so it's just kind of like
it's like really it's boring.
I don't know where they go from here, and then they get like something like a Valley where like I don't think anyone was really excited for, and we're like, oh damn, that slapped.
That slaps, but I feel like it's good to have, it's easy to have one good first season.
It's true.
Like, can they sustain it, like, in the long term?
And
like,
let's be honest, the first season is because there was 2 marriages that imploded.
Yeah, and they were all like they were all actually pretty messy, which I can like appreciate. Like,
but it wasn't because it was like, oh, this is such a good concept. It was like very lucky that it was a moment in time that like there was so many things that were happening.
100%, and that's just it. Like, I don't know if the Valley's going to get like 10 seasons the way that Vanderpump Rules has.
No. Well, also like how actually no, I was going to say how long could you watch people be super toxic? In like how far into their life, but then I look at the Housewives and Ramona was like 7 years old or 60 years old.
Ages and ages.
So who's to say? Very, very interesting. I'm just trying to think of anything else that happened with Lala here. Again, she was just kind of like, why do I have to ride so hard for Tom Sandoval? Why do I have to ride so hard with Ariana when she won't even like when she's still living in the house? Again, that happened a bunch of callers called in, some were for, some were against. It was funny because the people who were like, I totally am with you, Lala, like she should move out. And then Lala's like, I like you, like like you're the best, you're so smart. And then people who were like, no, I don't agree, she was like, I understand, but I like the other person more. Like, I don't know. It was just weird. Like, it's just, she clearly, I'm shook that she's still sticking to this whole he was living with her thing. I feel like there's ample people have explained why that's not a fair statement. Like, it's just like, it's weird that this is what she chose to hold on to so hard.
Like really, really like taking it down with the ship. I don't know. I don't know a good analogy.
Like, she's just like, this is the hill I'm going to die on.
Yes.
Oh, she did take the time to talk about how Ariana's a slob and her room's disgusting. And so we still feel that as well. So that's what I mean. It was like there was a mix of like Ariana's a slob, we're never going to be friends again, but also, oh my God, she's done such great things and she killed it on Dancing with the Stars. And apparently Lala's like, oh, apparently she did really well in Love Island, but I've never watched Love Island and I wasn't going to start now. And it's like, well, then that's your loss because we did and it was amazing.
Yeah, it was amazing. It was the best thing we watched all summer. Yeah, I mean, it's just boring. It just feels like it's like pretty like predictable Lala stuff, like, you know.
Yeah, it wasn't anything groundbreaking.
Yeah.
It was what it was.
Yeah.
I would be very interested to see Sheena because Sheena has, you know, flip-flopped a little and changed her mind, and we know is very motivated by, you know, the fan feedback. So I think that it could be more interesting to see an interview with Sheena nowadays.
Yeah, that's true. Especially kind of like, I think we were already kind of seeing some of that like flip-flopping, like pretty early on in like the whole kind of like reunion process.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'd definitely be curious to kind of like see a little bit later, especially now that we know that like contracts are kind of going out. Like, let's see where the gang's at. Like, let's get some feelers out there.
Right.
Yeah.
Also, did you see Katie as a boyfriend? She's in love.
Yeah, I did, but I don't know who he is. Apparently, I don't know, band?
Oh, I could see that. I could see her with a musician for sure. Yeah. Also, Sandoval apparently is moving in with his girlfriend. She for sure is going to be on the show, right? Like, isn't she like a model or something?
Is she moving into the house, or are they? What's happened with the house?
Oh, I don't know. Oh my God, I really hope that's not the case. Dear God.
Yeah. Oh my God, poor girl. She's paying that ridiculous rent to like for the mortgage, like paying rent to her boyfriend to afford the mortgage on his house.
Does he still have the house? He still has the house?
I haven't heard it. I feel like we'll know when he doesn't have the house anymore.
That's true. Yeah. That's true.
But if we do get another season, we'll get to see Ariana's new house, and it looks beautiful and amazing. So I'm excited by that.
I'm excited to see everything that's like going on in her life. Oh, that was another thing. Lala's like, I don't like when people don't remember where they come from or like forget their roots. And it's like, what has Ariana done that's shown that she doesn't remember where she's come from? Like, I feel like she'll just take any chance to like, come
she's
at this
literally
woman.
Like just it's done now, girl. Come on, go home, go back to Utah.
Speaking of Utah,
mom talk.
Yeah, go talk. Oh, okay. Actually, that's what I was going to say a little bit before.
Yeah. Oh,
Sheena has it's okay. Sheena has been doing a lot of interviews with the Mom Talk girls, and she seems to like really love them. I wonder if Sheena's just like, what show can I go on to?
It's like, I could be a Mom Talk. Let's do it. Sheena would love Mom Talk. It's kind of like at the end of Mean Girls when Gretchen Wieners like joins like the new clique that she like goes to. And she was just like, where's my next clique going to be?
Yeah, I could be Mormon. Brock used to be Mormon. There's a tie-in.
I could live in Utah and drive like a Range Rover or something.
So excited for Mom Talk season 2.
Me too.
Secret Lives of Mormon Wives.
I mean, that's basically what it is, right?
I feel like they could have just called it Mom Talk.
But... It might have been a little confusing, but I like
it. That's true.
I like it.
Yeah, so unsure about the future of Vanderpump Rules, kind of scared and concerned.
Maybe hopeful. Maybe
I'm not
blissfully hopeful.
Dude, I am not hopeful. I am not hopeful, and I feel like everything that comes out since just makes me less hopeful.
Yeah.
But I'm just gonna go and do some rewatches of old seasons and
there
feel
you go. That's a good idea. I just like that we have like news coming. Like I feel like that's good. Like that's like a good sign.
That's true.
Let's just see what comes out. I'm sure we'll get some spoilers, some boots on the ground people. You know.
Yeah, we'll definitely know when they start filming. Like, we'll be getting photos and pictures and evidence.
Yeah.
What are we watching now? Let us know, because honestly, I feel I'm at a really frustrating part with Bravo where I feel like watching the content is like homework. Like, I'm not excited to watch a lot of the stuff right now.
Watch Below Deck Sailing Yacht. Below Deck Sailing Yacht, season 5. Has just started. It's coming out. It's so like you have to get caught up on all the drama. Just skip season 1, go straight to season 2, season 2, 3, 4. Easy watches, super bingeable, so amazing, and then get up to season 5 so you can be current.
That's
easy.
Okay.
How hard is that? 3 seasons?
No, I could get through 3 seasons pretty quickly for sure.
Yeah.
I think I also just like watch less TV in general in the summer. Like I'm outside more.
That makes sense.
Which is good.
Yeah, that's when you should be outside.
But we're coming into the winter, so I will have to, hibernate.
Yeah, exactly. It's the perfect time to do it. It'll make you feel, like you're on a big adventure being on the sailing yacht.
Even Salt Lake City, like I'm not caught up. So by the time we do our next episode, I'll be caught up. But the first episode did not inspire me to want to continue. That's
fair. It took me a couple episodes to get into it, but now I feel like it's hitting its stride. It's always a little bit hard too when they like bring on like new people. But I think it's definitely, it's coming around. I'm excited. Yeah.
Salt Lake City's a funny one because it's like, it's so campy, right? Like it's so over the top, and like there are parts of it feel fake, but almost in like a campy way. So it's almost like so theatrical that you're like okay with it.
Yeah. Well, and I was actually, because of this whole like having an issue with like RHONY, and I won't get like too much into it. I was just like
until next week.
But I was then like, okay, well, let me go back and like rewatch some of like the earlier seasons of RHONY, and I started watching season 6, which is just like such a good season. Like,
is that the season that Bethany comes back?
So that's the season that Kristen Takeman joins. So Heather's already been there for 1 year. Aviva's already been there for 1 year, and Carol's already been there for 1 year. Sorry. Now I'm losing my voice. And yeah, so it's the season before Bethany and Dorinda join. And it's just such a good season. And like, it's also just like the level of like pace that they have on this like season, like episodes, where like just like so many things happen. It's like, okay, we're going to go to Ramona's and we're going to film this. Okay. And then we're going to go to that. And then this happens. And then that happens. And then this happens. Like they had just like so much content to work with. Where like in comparison, the RHONY, like the current season, I'm just like, oh, okay. So we're driving to the Hamptons. Oh, now we're in the Hamptons.
Oh, and it's like Jenna Lyons didn't meet you at your helicopter. Like, oh no.
Yeah, exactly. Like there's just, it feels so slow to like get from one thing to the next, and they have to it's just, I'm like,
it is really, really, it's slow. Yeah, I think that's fair. And that's the same kind of criticism we have of some of the seasons of like Summer House. Like sometimes it's just like not much is happening.
Yeah. But yeah, I guess I forgot I lost my train of thought in there. But the thing is that like the Salt Lake City ladies are at least kind of like the level of like delusional and like weird and like eccentric and like all of the things that kind of like at least jive enough with kind of like earlier days of RHONY, where I'm like, okay, this is good. There's something here I can appreciate. I feel all cozy in this.
Yeah. No, I think that's fair. I think with New York too, it's just like none of them are, I feel like they're just all being so careful of like what they're letting come out.
They're very careful. They're very careful and like not authentic or anything at all. Like they're very highly aware of like, this is a camera, this is a TV show, this is on public TV. And yeah, there's just not really like a lot of.
And I think you can also feel that like none of these people are actually friends. Like, it's just very clear that they're like,
just have no idea who these people are.
You know what's interesting is that like when you take like Secret Lives of Mormon Wives, like these people weren't friends either before they started Mom Talk, and apparently like at the beginning of filming, I don't think they were super close either, and they like got closer through filming, but it felt more authentic. Like they felt more cohesive, and maybe it's because they also are like kind of business partners in this like Mom Talk thing, but like there's a bunch of girls in Mom Talk, and I think they were like not even the core group. Like Mom Talk apparently is super big. Like,
well, I think that they all kind of like understand that they need each other to survive, where I feel like New York doesn't kind of like have that. They all kind of are like, well, I'm an influencer, so I can just kind of like, even if this doesn't work out, I still have my day job, and I'm like a real estate broker or whatever, and like I still have like this other thing to like fall back on. Like they don't have like that like, okay, guys, we all need to get this together to like have this work.
True.
There's none of that.
Yeah.
And I guess that was kind of the problem with VPR last season too, is that like there wasn't like a lot of like, okay, guys, we need to get this together for this to actually work.
Well, there was, but in a really fake way.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's true. And then like the only other things that I'm like really excited about is like Southern Charm, but like the fact that they didn't invite Olivia back, I really have a problem with, and like makes me way less excited for the season.
Yeah. Well, and we didn't Michael Patricia's butler has passed away.
So sad.
Yeah, it was really sad. I was reading the note about it that I guess that like she posted online or something. And it was just like, it was really beautiful and like sad and like really nice to kind of like hear about, I guess, like his final days. And just like, yeah.
He was so sweet. It's just like always like there's those scenes where he would like drive Patricia to McDonald's and like give it to her in her like cutlery or like her like silverware.
Yeah, she's like in like a Bentley or something, like a Rolls Royce, and she's like got her McDonald's, Big Mac.
Yeah,
I know, I loved it. That like all of their like interactions, like they were just like so fun. Like it was such a nice like kind of like little glimpse into their life together.
Yeah, and he like worked for them, but you could tell he was like very much part of the family for like Miss Pat and for Whitney and
and like I feel like there was like an appreciation of the fact that like this was his craft, and that like she knew that he like wasn't like a dime a dozen, right? Like he wasn't like somebody she could just kind of like throw around and like boss around and stuff. Like she like knew that he was like honing a craft and that she respected that.
Yeah. And didn't he lived with them, right? Like he lived in like, or on the property at least.
I think he must, like, or at least had like kind of like quarters, and then maybe like also had his own space, but I don't, very much like integrated. And like she talked about how like he was the longest relationship that she's ever had because she had a 15-year marriage and she was with Michael for 18 years.
Wow. Okay, I haven't read it yet. Oh, that's so sad.
It's it's gonna make you cry. There was a mention about like dogs and stuff, and it just made me like things started there. I was like, oh no, because like Chauncey had also passed away like a few days before.
Oh gosh.
Oh my god. Just like right to my heart.
Yeah. We'll pay our respects to Michael.
To Michael and Chauncey. Yeah.
And Chauncey. Oh gosh. Well, Southern Charm. I'm so excited about it.
Sorry.
Like, it's okay.
Just took it into like a darker note.
No, I think
it's good to respect should be paid, right?
Yeah, like, exactly. But I'm excited for Southern Charm to come back, but I really don't understand their decision to not bring Olivia back, especially after she put so much of her life, I mean, like in another really sad thing, like after her brother passed and she picked up filming right after it, and she was literally the main person this season was about, and they're like, oh, it looks like you don't live in Charleston as much anymore because you're with your boyfriend a lot, so I guess you're going in a different direction, and so are we. And she was like, what the heck?
Right. Yeah, well, now she's engaged too. Did you see that?
Yeah, they're for sure sitting there being like, damn it.
Well, I don't even know if they are, but like it's just, I don't know, like I just kind of feel like I don't really like fully recognize like Southern Charm. Like I feel like it's just like, Shep and Craig are still there, like Austin's still around, Whitney will make some appearances, Pat will make some appearances, but there's just like all these like new people. Just not interested in that.
Yeah, and if it's gonna be centered around what's her face? Taylor, like I'm not down for that.
Oh yeah. Oh, do you think it's gonna be centered around Taylor?
Probably. Who else is it gonna be centered around?
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. Maybe there'll be a trailer that comes out soon. I think it's supposed to come out back in December.
Yeah, so we're getting kind of late for a trailer.
Hopefully something comes out soon.
Yeah. In the meantime, there's always the challenge.
Yeah. That's true. At least we can rely on one thing.
Which we are going to do an episode about. I'm so excited. I think enough of you do watch the challenge, and if not, hopefully we'll inspire you to start watching it. There are so many seasons for you to choose from.
There's no time like the present to watch 40 seasons of TV, right?
Yeah. You could start at like 25 or something.
No, you have to start earlier than that.
No, dude, I went back because when my friends just started getting into it. And she's just watching the like random seasons that are on Crave, so she knows like none of the background.
Yeah.
And we went back to season 20 or something, and it's old. It's like it doesn't feel like it would be that old, but you're like, oh, I might have actually gone too far. We're doing John A's first season,
Yeah.
Because what's so cool about it too, though, is that like at least myself, I watched the Real World. So like you would watch these people in the Real World, and then you would watch them go on to the challenge. So you already like have a connection to it. Honestly,
right.
it's such a genius premise.
It is a genius premise. I'm trying to see what season was season 20. Oh, it's when they were in the Czech Republic. I do kind of remember that.
All I remember is it's Johnny's first season, and like CT is a baby, Banana's a baby. It's just like so crazy.
Yeah.
Maybe it wasn't 20, but it was like early 20s.
Yeah.
What's interesting too is I didn't realize that they had Love Island people on it too. So you know Olivia, like
you didn't know that?
No, I didn't know Olivia was from Love Island.
That's where Tori's from.
No, Tori's from Are You the One?
Oh, sorry. I got confused. Yeah. I got confused. I thought we were talking about Are You the One?
No. Yeah, because once Real World stopped, they started bringing... A lot of people are from Are You the One. A lot.
Yeah. Devin, Tori, Amanda, Corey.
Basically all of Era 3.
Yeah, a lot of Era 3, yeah.
Is from Are You the One? No, but Love Island. So Olivia, who was like Ride or Dies with Horacio, who I love, and he's not coming back anymore. Sad.
Olivia, yes.
Yeah, so she is from Love Island. So I was like, oh my God, get the current season of Love Island on the challenge.
Oh, I don't know.
Yes. Oh my God, could we not see like, what's his face? Like Snake Wrangler?
Snake Wrangler? Oh yeah, Rob. I mean, I guess I could kind of see Rob. I don't know if Love Island people are ready for the challenge. Like, I think that would be an experience. I can kind of see like
Olivia's good. Like she's also athletic. You know what is really interesting, actually, just to talk about Love Island for a second, is like, the world was so obsessed with them, and I feel like they all just like faded away. Like, I still follow them on like on social media, but like the moment is definitely past, and it's just so crazy to pick up on like how fleeting attention is.
It is. It's so fleeting. I hope that those girls that dropped out of university still feel good about that decision.
Well, it seems like they have a YouTube channel now, so they put out like they have like vlogs, I guess. I don't know how it's going. I wonder how much they're able to keep that attention.
Yeah, I hope it's going well. I don't know. I have to admit, I haven't thought about them in a minute.
Yeah, I only do because I have them on Instagram, so I see them every now and again. But
there you go. That's good.
Yeah, so let us know what you're watching, what you want us to cover next. We are open to, expanding a little bit outside of the world of Bravo. We love reality TV. I just love TV in general. I just watch a lot of TV.
I just restarted do my annual Gilmore Girls fall rewatching. So I'm on I've decided to go skip over season 1 because I've seen it so many times.
Yeah, same.
And I've actually skipped straight to season 3. So
okay, that's fair.
That so far, yeah.
I'm watching Stranger Things again from the beginning.
Also a good fall TV show. Look at us.
It's so good. My problem is though, like when we used to watch Stranger Things, when it used to come out in the fall, because then they change it and they come out in the summer, and I'm like, why would you do this?
No, it doesn't make any sense.
One year we watched it and we just went to Bulk Barn and we just like got all the chocolate and the candy and we ate it. So now I'm like watching Stranger Things, it's coming up on Halloween, I'm like, well, I want candy.
Well, I need candy for my Stranger Things viewing, obviously.
Yeah, and we need to like push against that, and it's very difficult.
You should be able to have a little bit of candy when you're watching Stranger Things. I think it's only fair.
Yeah, but you can't have just like a little bit of Halloween candy. It's like, I ate 50.
Well, if you just like buy a little bit of Halloween candy, then you only have a little
Maybe
bit of
at Bulk
candy.
Barn. We got to go back to Bulk Barn.
There you go. Yeah,
and
exactly.
And then you're just like sitting in the couch and you have like the pile of like open wrappers in front of you as like a reminder of what you just did.
What you just did.
You have to go throw it out. You're like, oh God, what have I done?
Amazing. Yeah.
Well, I want to go eat chocolate now.
Yeah, you guys should go to Bulk Barn. You should go to Bulk Barn because I can't.
Is there no Bulk Barn in Europe?
No.
That makes sense. It's not. I would not equate the essence of Bulk Barn. It's not a European thing.
No, the whole like essence of bulk is just like mute. There's no point in having that here.
I do have to say, the portions in Europe were amazing.
Yes, the portions are much more normal.
The quality of food.
Yeah.
The price of food.
Yeah.
Amazing. They understand it. They understand it. Also, the tax being included in the number. I don't know if that's everywhere or just in Italy.
Yes.
Oh
I
my
love
God.
that.
Life-changing. Life-changing.
I don't know why we don't do that in Canada. Like, it's so simple. It's so simple. Just like, and then they round up to, and it's just like an even number. You don't have to worry about it.
And like tip not being required, but like just, oh my God, just like they know how to do life there, man. Like they've got it figured out. They walk everywhere. They have siesta time in the middle of the day.
It's great. There are some things, but for the most part, yes, it's pretty civilized.
I feel like I'm European at heart in the way that I choose to live.
I understand that. Well,
or I wish I was.
Come on over.
Anyways, thanks for watching. This was so fun.
Yeah.
I have missed doing this. I've missed all of you, and we no more
gaps.
No more gaps. We're back.
It's happening.